All right. We're good. Can you talk real quick? Just say anything.
Testing. Hello, hello.
All right. Okay. You ready?
Ready.
Are you recording already? Oh, cool. Ready. 3. All right, guys. We are back. Degenerates. I feel like the top end of this year, or the back end of this year has just been constant surprise over more surprises. We've been getting settled here in Austin. It's been super great. Met some awesome people. And today we are sitting here with Steve Bolger, photographer.
Yep.
How would you describe yourself?
I struggle with that sometimes. I'm a content creator, photographer.
Yeah.
I don't want to say influencer because I feel like that term's outdated, and I kind of stray away from influence and just try to create and connect to people.
So artist first is how you kind of see yourself.
That's artist. That sums it up nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your stuff is awesome, dude.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
Like
Thanks a lot.
we first met. Actually, let me just go ahead and do the housekeeping, paying the bills. Please make sure you go like, share, subscribe. We've got a whole bunch of episodes that have already happened that we think that you guys are going to be super excited about. We've got some more coming up. Or actually, by the time that this is out, the episode with our Canadian friend on the Con Calma podcast, where he gave us his take on the election, will be up. Top 50 tacos in Texas and how controversial that whole thing has been. California is now in the conversation about how Mexican food is better over there, so a little friendly rivalry for us, Mexican Americans, which I love. Anything in between. So please go check us out. Thank you so much to the Instagram community. Today was the day that we broke 20,000 followers on Instagram. So
nice.
that's
Congrats.
yeah, man. I'm
awesome.
right after this, I'm gonna figure out a way to go have myself a little cocktail somewhere, and then
Celebrate.
yeah, and then all of the above. Thank you guys for all of your support. Steve Bolger sitting here with us. Artist first.
Yeah.
I think I resonate with that a lot because it's not that I don't like the influencer word. I just think that I don't know if that's what I'm actually trying to do. I don't know if I want you. I don't know if I want to be of influence to anyone.
Yeah. I kind of feel the same way. I don't necessarily like sales. I don't like pressuring people.
Right.
When things connect organically, if maybe something that I'm talking about or sharing strikes your interest, then great. I'm happy to talk more about it, but I'm not going to push products on people because I think at a certain point, it doesn't really feel authentic.
That's a good point.
There's enough of that out there.
That's a good point. Would you do it if you really believed in a product?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would you do it I just recently talked to the brand ambassador, I don't know about brand ambassadors, the marketing department for Topo Chico, because we're trying to get something going. Yeah. And their thing was, we don't necessarily want anybody on camera saying, hey, go buy Topo Chico. We just want Topo Chico to be in the frame as like a cultural standout kind of point, which I thought was very interesting because most products they want you to say, we really like this product, go buy this product, right? Yeah. And I think there's something to be said about understanding that maybe yes, there is a product that you like, but I think if it's just around enough, people will say like, well, clearly they like that, and there's some sort of trust there, So I don't know if that kind of like backwards marketing thing will eventually lead to other brands doing it. But I think I understand what you mean. There's a lot of products that I use that on a one-on-one level, we'll sit down and I'll say, I really like that. I really like that camera. I really like that thing. I really like, but once the camera's on, I don't know if I want to be the one to say like, hey, you guys should all go get this. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I think with this podcast, we talk about so many different things and a lot of different topics that I don't necessarily know if I'm the person that you should be going to first whenever it comes to certain things that we're that we're talking about. But I definitely want to be a person that you come to that you can trust to at least give you some sort of insight or like a direction in terms of the topic. but not like the end all be all final say kind of thing.
Well, you're really good at asking questions to kind of peel back the layers and get at like some of the deeper details into things. And when you're talking about an experience or what something means to you, sometimes that can be enough to draw enough of a connection with people to really empathize with that product and maybe want to try it out. So I think I like the way you put it, like a back end way, a marketing where it's more subtle, it's more relatable than like buy this product, link in bio.
Yeah, it
seems that feels like kind of superficial.
It feels plastic, right?
Yeah, very plastic.
It feels very plastic,
Yeah.
and it also I think after a certain point, it lost its mystique. I think now like people just understand like, oh, they gave you money, so you have to say that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that like you're using that product all the time.
100%.
You know what I mean? Which I think was the original reason why the term influencer was a thing.
Yeah.
You know, I also don't push a lot of products, so I wouldn't consider myself an influencer in general. But I think I like artist first. I think you and I relate to that really well because I just kind of want to create things.
Yeah.
And I just want them to exist outside of me and not necessarily, whether they're linked to me or not, is almost secondary. I kind of just want it to live out there. I want the concept to live really well. I want to know that I executed the concept as well as I could have, and that it resonates with people. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, I don't know, like you do with that what it makes you want to do, you know. Yeah. And I like that aspect of creation more so than like I need to be the one to spearhead this.
Yeah,
this
people
thing,
need to follow me. People need to listen to me.
Yeah,
I guess we all do influencing to some degree, but yeah, our primary mission is to create, and if there's some partnerships in there, or we give some messaging out there, like to talk about a product, that's fine. But like, we're
so it's not the primary goal.
Yeah, we're artists first. Storytelling. I like to do some storytelling.
Oh yeah. We had such a great conversation about storytelling when we first met, right?
Yeah,
we met here at a mixer here a couple streets down, and storytelling. I think that's my favorite. If I was to categorize myself, I think I would say it's a storyteller.
Yeah, because that aligns with me too.
That inherently is like artistic in and of itself, right?
Especially as a photographer, you're helping other people define themselves, build their brands, and that is essentially storytelling. What
got you into photography?
So I started I guess I did call myself an influencer at one time, or trying to be, when I first started Instagram almost 10 years ago, and I realized like the phone could only get me so far with what I was trying to accomplish, so I ended up getting a camera. Then I realized I liked photography. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's nice to switch your creativity in a way where you don't necessarily have to be on yourself. You can still use that camera and create, and you can help other people at the same time, which is something I like. I like to be social, I like to work with people. So it seemed like a no-brainer from there, and I've kind of been able to balance both, and it's been fun. And
you're a Sony guy, right?
I'm a Sony guy. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Hope we can still be friends.
No, it's fine. I am not. Yeah. I'm a Canon guy. But I think people place a lot of stock onto the rivalries because I think it really just be like, chances are the first camera you picked up is what you're gonna end up being, because with the way these cameras companies really make their cameras, they almost make it impossible for you to just have like a one-stop shop, point and shoot. This is everything that you need. Yeah. So like, if you get a Canon, you're gonna eventually want a lens. You're gonna get a lens, and then like you're gonna realize, and then you're gonna want more lenses, and then you're gonna realize that like, oh well, you know, they only make lenses for this kind of camera, and then you know, so then you're like, oh man, like, so I should upgrade. So it kind of becomes inevitable, and then every camera that's Canon oriented pretty much has the same kind of functions behind the lens. So then if that's just your mannerism or your go-to,
you don't want to relearn something else. No way.
Yeah, so I think that's it. That ends up being like your trajectory. I know Nikon people that are like been Nikon since day one, and they're just like, I just don't want to relearn things. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like, high-end equipment on whatever brand still gets really great stuff.
Yeah.
There's some Sony people that make some great photography. And then there's some Canon people that are phenomenal. And then there are some Fuji people that make some great stuff too, you
Yeah.
know. And then you have like your more niche noir, like not noir, but like more niche. I don't even know if luxury would be the record. You have your Leicas and your Hasselblads and your, you know, which to me, I just like window shopping through my phone, and I'm just like, oh, what it would be like to have a medium format, format Hasselblad, like, you know, with the back, with the that's just like a pipe dream for me. But like, you know, I shoot Canon. I have a couple Blackmagic cameras, got a couple action cameras. I've got a Fuji. I just like photography, man. I just, you know.
Yeah.
What do you do? So you're primarily portraiture?
Yeah, portraits.
People?
Some branding, which similar to portraits. Yeah.
Yeah.
I work with some brands sometimes too. Four Seasons. Shop the Omni this year.
Man.
So that's kind of nice too. Just yeah.
Quick flex on everybody. If you show up to the Four Seasons.
I should have just said hospitality.
Hospitality. Yeah. No. You could go for it, dude.
Brands.
Go for it, dude. Like that. If you're ever at the Four Seasons, Steve might have been the reason that you're there, because that photograph that made you want to go.
There's a few photos from last year of Aisha at the Philly Four Seasons in their lobby. There's like this little screen that like flashes through different photos, and there's one of her holding a magazine with like a towel, like her hair is wrapped, just on the bed, just lounging. It's there. It's nice. I've been there a couple times. I've seen that there. She's been there with me. She's like, oh my God, there I am. It's just kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
Like you said, seeing your stuff out there is.
It's great.
It's great. Yeah.
I've done a lot less corporate stuff. A lot of. I do a lot of headshot work for corporate companies, but not like advertisement stuff. Although it'd be nice. I've done some product stuff for hospitality, like on the restaurant side, cocktail side. It's fun.
What's like your favorite? Do you have like a particular niche in there that brings you the most joy, or do you feel like it's all
so?
A good time?
I think my journey to photography was maybe a little bit different. I did not go into this with the intention of trying to be a great photographer from the jump. Yeah. I'll go through my spiel really quickly. I was a professional dancer at 15. Was awesome. Kind of like on traveling and performing, and that was like my first love. I used to love storytelling, still love storytelling through movement. And when I graduated high school, everybody was trying to get me to go to school for dance, and as it turned out, in Houston, some of the teachers at the University of Houston, I was already kind of doing shows with on the weekends, and it felt really weird for me to for you to be my colleague on the weekend, but then you grade my stuff on the weekday. Oh, yeah. And especially since we were both getting paid, we were both kind of in the scene. We were both we were all professionals in the same right. Maybe they had a degree and I didn't, but we were all. I was getting sought after for certain things, and so I kind of felt valuable already. So it felt like a weird dynamic. And then I was also kind of like a hidden musician. I wanted to I was awesome. I was playing music on the side, and I kind of had like a passion for it. Yeah. And then I asked myself one question. I remember very specifically. I said, what do you like when you go online and you go out there and you see whatever you like what is it about it that you like? Oh, I'm looking at this artist, or I'm looking at this thing, and then I'm realizing that, one, coming from my background, there was never any way that I could immediately try to get my likeness into these spaces without somebody else either funding the media side, meaning I could get on a contract for a big company, they could see my face, and then I could be get lucky enough to get promoted, and I'm and now my face is everywhere, right? Or I can try to learn how to do it myself, so that on the off chance that I don't have that kind of opportunity, I can create my opportunity. Yeah. This was before the advent of Instagram, and this was 2010. Wow. So before the big blow up of So first year of college I was undecided, and then second year of college I went in for photography, and I was this was actually a really nice surprise. It wasn't photography marketing, you learn Photoshop, go out and get corporate clients. It was more so it was a fine arts program at the University of Houston. So we were doing all traditional photography. So 35 millimeter film cameras. We all had to get one. And then we essentially learned the elements and concepts that can eventually get your work into a museum.
Oh,
How
cool.
how to think
Okay.
like very critically about the medium of photography and like where it comes from, its history, its role in society, especially like on a political level, on a human documentation level, right? So we would go over things like, the labor movement and how like the child labor laws started, and how like a big driver in those laws getting passed was Lewis Hines' work with the medium format, like going into Philly and like especially the Rust Belt, and like taking photographs, these really beautiful portraits of like these children
Wow.
in like in the plants with like their hands all like them like charcoal everywhere, and like and these like really beautiful photographs of children that were working, and how that really like sparked a movement inside the brain, right, of America, was saying like maybe these children shouldn't be working, right? So that's kind of the avenue that we were kind of attacking photography from, like the really direct political sense to like very abstract, challenging the concept of photography in general. Can you have like just some light, like silver gelatin print paper, not put it through an enlarger, and like spill chemicals all over it, and then like spill coffee or something on it, and then like shine light on it, and develop it? Like, is that a photograph? And like, why isn't it a photograph? So we would kind of go into these really deep kind of like rabbit holes of photography. So on one end we had like, this is how to do a corporate photograph, like a corporate portrait, and then this is how to do a portrait with saying something about your life, and and how this portrait got into like Dorothea Lange and the portrait of the of the woman in the Dust Bowl, and then this is like really, really conceptual photography, and we kind of ran through it all there. So I really fell in love with it. I fell in love. I wasn't anticipating it. I was just using it as like, this is a tool for me, and I end up falling in love with the entire process, because I realized that a lot of these artists were just storytellers.
Yeah.
Going back to that. So my trajectory was a little weird. It wasn't necessarily like I want my work to be in magazines or like on Instagram or anywhere. It was more so like, oh my God, like I really, like some of these artists have been really helpful towards civilization in general. You know what I mean? So yeah, we got really like nerdy about it.
That's awesome. I love history and like artist history, and just hearing how photography really has been so, I wouldn't even say instrumental, just like how vital it's been. Like, you think the Vietnam War, people seeing, when they see travesty or when they see good or bad things, that strikes like such a connection, and it makes people care. It makes people care about things.
I mean, I think there's some photographs that are like stuck in the zeitgeist of society.
Yeah.
I'm thinking some of the Vietnam War stuff. I'm forgetting the name of the country, but like, or sorry, the name of the monk, right? But like that monk on fire in China during the the protest.
The girl who was burnt by napalm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy.
She's still alive.
Yeah. The guy in front of the tank, when like the tank is going forward.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think
Tiananmen
about.
Square.
Yeah. That's the one I'm thinking about.
Oh, okay.
That's the one I'm thinking about. And then the National Geographic, the girl, the most beautiful girl in the world at the time, right? Where she had like the green eyes and had it was like a huge everywhere. I think it's like imprinted on my mind, like that picture of that girl. She had this like gaze. It was beautiful. So like, I think there are some photographs that like, you wouldn't know it, or sorry, you do know it, but you don't register it as like, oh, this is a photographer's work. Yeah. It just becomes part of like the society.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Do you have like these bigger goals with your photography at this point now, or are you kind of like in in the midst of the job?
I guess a little bit of both. It's definitely been a pivot moving here to a different city, building new clients, and I've only just left corporate within the last year, so adjusting to having to go chase, and I hate pitching. It's something I hate to do, but yeah, I would like to probably lean more into events and corporate space, because portraits in themselves are often, they're like one-off, and I want to try to find those bigger relationships, those ongoing relationships where I can be utilized more, and I don't have to pitch, because I hate that.
I agree. Do you find it hard? This is gonna be like a total, like, I can only ask you this question, but like, do you find it hard whenever companies don't value the importance of a brand?
I guess definitely speak to like the aspect of being a creator, and obviously creators, a lot of them have to be photographers now. Brands who want you to star in the content, like for you to style an outfit or show off an experience. They want stuff done for free. They want to offer you an exchange. But there's like so much time that obviously goes into the work. There's so much that we've invested into creating work that they're obviously asking us to do because they like it. So yeah, there's definitely like an ongoing discussion about like value, and just valuing the work.
I find it very difficult. I've had some clients before where they understand that marketing is a thing, and they understand that they want a brand, but they don't understand what it takes to build the brand. And then they oftentimes, to give them a lot of credit, they undervalue the effort that it takes to build a brand, and how the return, the ROI isn't instant. You kind of have to build it. So I've lost
not just
clients.
one single shoot too. It's like,
it's not just one. We kind of have to find your niche. We have to figure out who's coming to your bar, who's coming. We have to kind of figure out how to sell it, and it won't happen all at once. And in the same way that they this is part of my pitch. You can totally steal this. But I say this to companies all the time. I ask, how long did it take you to get here in your company? And they say, well, it took X amount of years or blah, 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 right? I'm like, in the same way that it took you that long to build your company, it should take you somewhat a microcosm of that time to build your brand. Because those two things don't happen at the same time. Maybe you're lucky and you happen to hit a market and you sell a product that nobody else was doing. Maybe you're Buc-ee's. And like you don't necessarily have to compete on that level, and you kind of hit the jackpot, and now you just get to replicate, and then you focus on, okay, well, we have to be clean, and we have to be tidy, and we have to be friendly, and we have to, maybe you're that, and you kind of fall into that. But most people don't do that. Most people like have a business, they have a vision, they work at it week after week, month after month, year after year, and they're in the red for a very long time. And then they do it because they love it, and then all of a sudden they get a big break. They whatever their trajectory is, and then they find themselves in this position like, well, okay, now we have to market, now we have to try to get this and that, and then they think that the brand is quick. Like, if I just pay for this, it should be able to go everywhere, and I'm like, that's not really how it works.
No.
You know what I mean? So I always say, however long it took you to build this business, you should think about building a brand in the same way. Because it takes a while, But it can be frustrating, because I've lost clients, and I become really invested. I'm like, oh man, I think we could go this. I envision this kind of like, not just one photograph, but like I envision this whole thing of, you can get these kind of photographs and invite these kind of people, and then document this and that, and create these kind of videos and blah, blah, right. And then by the time that we get to a third of it, they're like, oh, well, we're not necessarily seeing the activation that we thought that this was gonna be. So like, we're just gonna stop it. And I'm like, oh, but you were so cool. You were like, you could have been this
they don't have
thing,
the patience.
Yeah.
Sadly, I guess a lot of them don't have the same vision too. Especially when they delegate like social media presence to like an intern or the staff who work at the restaurant, like as a side thing. Whereas, like you could have like a really good vision for their social media, for their website, creating content that draws people in and really wants them to come there. yeah, it's sad when they're a little more short-sighted and they want that instant gratification, the instant turnaround.
Yeah. What are the in your career? What have been the most difficult parts of saying like, oh, I'm gonna try to do this for a living?
Yeah, working with restaurants definitely has seemed hard to pick up. There's some people, a lot of content creators do a great job. They have really big following. They've been very consistent building up that specific brand as an advocate. And brands will look for that quick turnaround. Restaurants look for that quick turnaround with that influencer. But aside from that, if you're they look at like their online presence as just through the lens of like influencer marketing, and they'll team up with local PR agencies just to bring out influencers to just kind of take their film content, do some work for free, and that's like their online publicity. I found there's less interest in, at least for me, and I need to be pitching more to fully say this, but from what I've experienced and from what some other people have shared with me too, is they're looking for more the influencer side of things versus like creating curated content. And those who do, they're usually like a restaurant chain who has
So then they
takes it more seriously.
So then they get more corporate.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because sometimes I watch, I mean, you're shedding a light onto like what happens behind the scenes in terms of like the restaurant or the group, the restaurant group or whatever, because a lot of times they're groups, right?
Yeah.
Or like hospitality groups or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They will reach out to the PR agencies, all the influencers will come out, and what will end up happening is that it's all these influencers that are not really big yet. No. They have a couple thousand followers, they make a couple hundred, and they want to get more, and they think that this restaurant's going to be this next big thing. So then they all take their phones out. All of a sudden, that restaurant for the next week has this big influx of content of where people are going in, and they essentially did it for free.
Yeah,
like they got it.
They
got it for free in the sense that they didn't have to pay the influencers. They probably paid the PR agency, but they didn't have to pay the influencer because the influencer also has the vested interest in saying like, well, the more that I do this, the more that I can get. The algorithm will boost my stuff, and then I'll get some sort of followers because of it, and. It feels like it should be a win-win, but in a lot of ways it kind of feels very I don't know if this is the right word, but like predatory. It feels
for sure.
It feels kind of like you're taking advantage of the fact that people are longing for doing this as a career, and instead of it being mutually beneficial to where you can facilitate a stepping stone into that career, it feels more like, well, we just know that we're gonna get more. Like they're definitely gonna get a lot more foot traffic
for sure.
And all they need is for one of those influencers to go viral. For then all of a sudden, like every weekend for brunch, they have people. Yeah. At least for the foreseeable future,
Yeah, they're gonna get some people in there who are very talented. I think a lot of the stuff can kind of look like it's just waving your phone around, but there's some people who have a really good eye for this stuff, but don't have the courage to ask. Or to say no. There needs to be some way to unionize, If enough people say no, then they're going to have to start paying people. But
that's interesting, a union for influencers?
But at the same time, like you have to do some free work to have a portfolio to show.
Right.
Yeah.
This camera,
it's right in the sun.
is like fully behind him to the point that you can't.
Okay.
Small pause.
Because, it is predatory how... these businesses, and it's not even just like restaurants, it's clothing companies, it's skincare companies, beauty, all those things. Like, they're going to keep getting free work because people, after a certain point, even when they've already built the portfolio, will continue to work for free or ask for like pennies. I get DMs from like, I don't know if you heard of Coop Andy. They're like an Amazon brand. They'll reach out every couple months and they'll want to pay me like $50 for like a get ready with me video. And then we go back and forth, and then maybe they'll offer me like 75. No, it's crazy, and they do it because eventually they get enough people to meet whatever their quota is for however many influencers they want to work with.
They'll divide that by their budget.
Yeah. And that budget is low. They know they're going to get enough people who are going to work for pennies or nothing at all. There's a lot of good discussions happening on Threads right now. There's a lot of like creator discussions, people sharing knowledge as like a full-time person or someone who's like, I'm tired of working for free, and these brands are asking for like 5 revisions after.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. The revisions are crazy.
It is crazy.
But that's why, like, I think a lot of people I think this is I've gotten this problem even whenever I do like event photography. So like I'll do like weddings or like, I've done that before. I tend not to because that's a whole thing in and of itself. Yeah. And if you want it done right, you need a team, right? Yeah. But on the off chance that somebody's like, no, just you, like it doesn't have to be crazy, blah, 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 right? Eventually you'll get that one person that you realize as a photographer that why the photo packages are always like 2 revisions max.
Yeah. Because
then though you'll have but I don't like this, but can we do this one, or can we go? Can you? Oh, actually, I like the other, photograph more. Can you send me all of them instead of the ones that you chose? And then, so it's just constantly going back to those files, and it's just like, man, I've got a lot more to do, and now my labor has been, like my labor. You've exceeded what you've paid me for.
Yes.
On a labor level, right?
Because you try to be nice, you try to give them like a little extra. Okay, yeah, just one more revision, it's fine. And then you realize like how far past that line in your head that you initially drew, like how far you went.
Yeah, I've gotten offers for me to like do this podcast thing. Yeah. For other people, and it's never come into fruition because they don't understand how much this is. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, look, I'm providing already like thousands of dollars worth of equipment, and like I'm not even sure that that they'll ask for like a certain amount of reels after the fact and like the raw footage, and I'm just like, man, dude, what are we doing? Like
they just see like the finished product and they're like, that can't be that expensive. That
can't be hard, right? And I'm just like, no, it's difficult. This is relatively low budget.
Oh wow!
For like the kind of level that you can have, the kind of automation and optimization that you can have. Yeah. This is still kind of like on the lower side, and even still, it's expensive. Yeah. So it's hard. It's hard, but I'm actually pretty good at saying no.
That's good.
I'm always like, nah, I don't want to do that, because I already know the headache that I'm gonna have to go through on the back end. So I'm pretty good about like, I don't know if we could do that,
That's good. That's because that's a skill in itself. Like saying no, drawing that line. Not everyone could do that. Yeah. And some people, it takes a long time to learn. Speaking for myself.
I think part of the I think I would say if this is any kind of superpower at all, I think I got good at that only because like I have such a deep love for photography in general. If I didn't get paid for it, I'd still do it. Yeah. That's
how I started. I was doing like portraits for freaks. I just wanted to
learn. I think I would still do it. I love street photography. Some of my favorite stuff that I learned in school were like some of my favorite photographers were street photographers, and oh man, some of the work that they do is so great. And and they're in museums and stuff. And I remember in Houston has like a really great fine arts museum, and they have a whole photography section. And I remember we would go during school, and I would just be like in awe of some of these photos. I'm like, this photograph is so good, and like it was just this guy that had a 35 millimeter in the streets of New York, and then they went home, and then so I have such a deep love for it that if I never made money off of it, I think I would still do it. In the same way that like if I never played a show, I think I would still play guitar
Yeah. It's just good to have that like creative passion. Yeah. I think everyone needs that. And just being able to like pick up your camera and walk outside and do that, that's an easy creative passion when you think about it. I mean, aside from investing all the money into the expensive cameras.
But I think it helps me out because if somebody ever asks me to do more than what I'm comfortable with, then it makes the medium not fun for me. Yeah. And then that's not a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Like at the end of the day, this thing has to feel fun for me because I love this. So if you start to get in the way of how I love this thing, then like I'm gonna just say no to you.
If I'm gonna dread working with you.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna ask for more.
Yeah. How do you?
Pain and suffering is it's an expense.
I don't know if you're not comfortable, answering this question. That's fine. But how do you put a price tag on what you do? Is it brand specific? Do you like what factors go into the way you would quote somebody?
That's a really good question. I don't know if I can like concisely quantify
I can tell you
that.
mine if you
Go
want.
ahead. I mean, yeah, I can tell you the number, but I just
Okay.
I can't necessarily.
Oh, so you have a flat number?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the project. So we'll have to like talk about like what they're looking for, how long we're going to be there, like what deliverables do they want, like why they want it too. Also, sometimes they'll think they need more or less than what they're trying to achieve. But like for an hour shoot for like 20 or so photos and some video clips that I barely have to touch, that'll be like $300. Unless I have to travel outside of like immediate Austin, then I'll throw in like a $75 travel fee on top of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What about you?
So my answer to that question varies on who's asking.
Yeah.
So if I see, I'd like to think that I have a decent vetting process.
Okay.
So what I usually do is if it's a corporate client, I give them like just flat out numbers. If they just want one shoot, one day, one thing, right, whatever, like it's pretty standard. Like if you're gonna get some 10, 15 photographs, or if you want me to photograph your event, or if you want me to be, then I'll do like the standard, like give me a per diem for food, especially if it's gonna be all day. This I learned from the performing side of it too. Like whenever I was a performer, you have to negotiate your own contracts a lot. So this became, really handy for me. So like, I'll be like, oh, well, if you're going to make me travel, or if I have to go out of my way, like, give me a per diem for the day, give me I'll do mileage, which like, you can go on like the online and just type in like national mileage rate, right? And then it'll tell you, I think it's like 0.65 now per mile or something.
Okay.
It went up a little bit. So I'll just literally track, like, I'm going to drive from here to here and then here back. And like, I'll multiply that times 0.65, and then I'll say this is what the mileage would be, and then so it becomes pretty standard, pretty like cut and dry. And then I'll say like this is what the thing is, and then and if you want more edits after that, then we could do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, things like that. So that becomes pretty standard. For really, really big corporate clients, one of those shoots can be really simple, like a $300 shoot or $400 shoot if it's in town, or I have to like go somewhere, or I have to if I know the editing in advance is going to be really large, then it can be upwards of like $200 to $2,500 depending on what it is. Okay. But again, like I'll ask, like, what do you need? What kind of shots do you need? Do I have to put my drone in the air? Do I have to use a gimbal? Do I have to use my own lighting? Do I have to use my slider? Do I have to and then depending on where it is, or like where it lands is what I ask for. But if those are typically like corporate clients. Okay. If I'm dealing with like a mom and pop shop, or if I'm dealing with somebody that like an artist, like an actor that wants headshots because they're about to go on an interview, or they're about to go on a casting call, or about to go and they reach out to me, I'm usually a lot more lenient with those people. Okay. Because you can kind of like vet, like, what do you need it for? I do a lot of work with actors sometimes, so we'll do like some headshots and stuff like that, and I virtually almost don't charge them. I'll charge them like $50 or $75 and stuff, because, and I think I'm a sucker for that, because
struggling artists.
Yeah, because I was there. Because I was there at the beginning, and I remember like I needed a headshot at some point, or I needed like and I didn't want to spend that I didn't have the money. It's not that I didn't want to. I just didn't have it. I didn't have the money. So I think back, and I factor that in. I factor the, like, who am I talking about? Who am I talking to? If it's a mom and pop shop that's just trying to compete with, like, if it's a mom and pop shop, if it's a mom and pop bakery that's trying to compete with like Einstein Bagels on the corner now, I'm like, let's
show them a little mercy.
Yeah, I'll show them a lot. I'm like, hey, here, why don't we do this? Like, you can pay for this package. It's like $150 or whatever. But like, I'm gonna add a lot more. I'm gonna give them a whole bunch more photographs. I'm gonna tell them, like, you can go blow it up to this size and blah blah. Like, I'll give them a lot of information after that. So yeah, that's typically like the my process. And then if the company is large enough, or they have more, like I'm working with PT clinics right now. Yeah. So I'm doing like a lot of headshots for PT clinics, and I'm doing walk through videos for like all of their clinics. We're doing some client testimonials. We're doing like we're going all out. I know the owner, we're really good friends, and we're taking our time and we're going for it. I'm charging her less because of like per thing, because I know that at the end of the day I'm getting more out of it. I'm getting more work out of that whole, she's got like 8 locations, so I'm going to have work for a consistent amount of time. And the biggest thing that made me say like, okay, well, I'm going to like lower it a little bit is the fact that I have creative freedom. Oh man,
that's always nice.
You give me the blank check,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So like, I'm more comfortable going in and doing revisions and
like
doing
the more
this.
requests and rules, like the more work, right? Like the more stress and the less fun it can be. So back to your fun rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm having a blast. Like I think we started shooting like 2 weeks ago for their initial like 30-second commercial for one clinic, and we just finished this past Thursday, and I willingly went and did the revisions. I willingly went back to the clinic to get more B-roll. I willingly did because I was having a lot of fun. I was like, oh, this is really good. I like this vision. We did a voiceover, and like, that was my idea where that was never supposed to be happening in the first place. So but it was because it was really fun, And then I knew the vision of the owner. I like learned how she started and kind of what they're dealing with, and I ask a lot of questions about the business and turnover and kind of so it makes me a lot more engaged and like, oh, I believe in your vision.
Yeah.
So I want to be part of your vision. Whereas corporate clients, I'm like, I know you just want like a really good shot of like, of this plate.
Your brand, it's very narrow.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'll do it, but like, just cut the check and then I'll see you later.
And just knowing, the difference of budgets.
Awesome.
For sure. Yeah. Do you ever have people ask for originals?
And like raw files?
Yeah. Like
I have had some people do it.
How do you feel about that?
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
I don't like it for
There's a whole list of reasons.
I think the main one for me is that if you edit it and you say that I took that photo, that's it.
Don't do that. Don't even tag me.
Yeah, like I don't want to be associated with it, even though I took it. So I have this tug of war in my mind. I'm like, that's my photo. Right. But like, that's not how I would ever have edited that. Yeah. And like, now you've ruined the photo.
I know.
And I just, I'm like very possessive about it, I guess. But like, I don't like it. I think the only time that I've ever given raw files to somebody was I was doing, back in Houston before I moved, I got contracted to follow the journey of a house remodel. Like, so they tore down their house and they built a whole brand new one, right? Yeah. The project's still going on, but like we had to terminate our contract because of the fact that I was here. Yeah. But we tried to make it work for a while, but like after a while, the lady was just so nice, and so like I've known her for a very long time, that they wanted to kind of continue. Like I would make these videos and I wouldn't use all of the raw footage. Like some of the footage wasn't usable.
Right. How much do we shoot versus like how much we actually use?
Yeah. So but she really wanted all those memories for her house, like especially like the memories of like the way the house used to look like, and like this and that, and I gave her all the raw footage. Because I'm like, I don't think you're gonna go and edit this and to make it into something that like to try to make me look bad or like, and you're definitely not gonna say, oh, he did this, right? Yeah. But she just wants to be able to go into her computer and say like, this is how the house used to look like, and this is what it looks like now. You know what I mean? And then like I did some like really rough walkthroughs of just to get like a nice test shot for me to like get creative, and I'm like, I know that you're just looking back as a memory. Yeah. You're not necessarily trying to make more out of this. So that was probably the only time that I ever did, like, I gave somebody raw footage. Yeah. But typically I'm like, why do you want that? I can become very suspicious if they ask for that. Yeah. I'm like, why? Why do you want that?
Occasionally I'll work with clients who want to look through the raw images and pick out the ones, like, because they're picky about their face or their, or maybe like their body or something, which I totally understand. I had a couple clients ask like, hey, I can view the images. Why can't I download them? I'm like, well, because that's not the finished product. Like, that's not what you're paying for. It's not in the contract. They're like, oh, well, how much? Like, can I get them? I'm like, well, I could charge you this much more, but I need to understand like why. And usually I can talk people like out of doing that. To your point, like it's not finished. It doesn't speak well to your brand, and then also like you're not going to get clients from it. If they see unfinished work, it's not anything that you would want prospective clients to even see. Yeah.
What do you use to get them to view it but not download it?
So I use Pixie Set for. I'll just create like a whole separate gallery when it's time for them to download like the images, and it's pretty rare when anyone really wants to go through and pick out, because often I will over deliver too. I'll I say you're gonna get 20 photos, I'm gonna like a lot more, and I'll give people like 50. Sometimes I know
That's
I
very
shouldn't
generous.
do that.
That's super generous. Every photographer, if any like full-time photographers heard you say 50 of a 25, they're like, whoa, like that client really got their bang for their buck. Yeah.
I don't normally over deliver like that, but one case I did super over deliver was for a friend's 40th. This was just a few weeks ago when I went to Cabo. They paid for a lot of things for a lot of their friends to enjoy, like a boat party, and they even like subsidized this like high-end dinner for their friends, and they paid me to be there to capture video and photo. So the contract was for like up to 75 photos. I gave her like 240 photos.
That makes sense though.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I hate doing stuff for my friends.
Yeah.
Not because they're my friends, but because they will. One, they have faith in me, so they're like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna do a great job, blah blah this and that." Like, we really want these kind of photos for our thing.
Yeah.
And I get so it's just a tug of war in my head because I want to enjoy it with you. I don't want to be at work whenever I'm supposed to be hanging out with you. You know?
It is hard to be in a moment when you're like, oh wait, this is a great moment. Like, let me step away from it and photograph it.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Yeah. But I also want to do them the favor and not have them hire somebody that's gonna like charge them an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
So it's a tug of war. But I typically say no because I'm like I want to like enjoy the moment with you.
Yeah.
You know, I want to have the memory. I don't want to have to work on the memory.
It was more my girlfriend's close friend too. So one, I get to score brownie points, you know, and then two.
You out of the park, bro. Yeah. Out of the park. You went for it. Out of the park.
And then one of this girl's, a few of her other friends that were there made her like the parties difficult. So it's like, let me make this better for you too. So it's like,
that's nice.
Yeah. Two things. Like one is like a little selfish for me to be like, here's extra photos. But two, like I want to make it better for her. 'Cause, like, it sucks when you're dealing with a lot of people for a birthday. Like things can go wrong. You know, like celebrating special occasions.
This is why I don't like doing weddings.
And it's like a destination birthday. Like some people don't travel well. Some friends you just should not travel with. It tests any relationship. Like before you get married or anything, you should probably have a travel trip with your partner.
Agreed. A couple.
Yeah, a couple.
Not just one.
Right.
A couple trips. Yeah.
Lucky. Yeah.
Start off by going across town.
Yes.
And then just gradually get further and further away.
Like trip to the lake or something.
Yeah. Here in Austin is great. Like go to the lake. And then maybe go to San Antonio, and then maybe Houston.
Wineries, you know, it's like a quick day trip or two.
Yeah, go to Fredericksburg.
Do a flying trip.
Yeah, don't go to New York. No. Don't go cross country, and definitely don't go.
It's for both your benefit. Like, she gets as much out of it as you do. I
totally agree. Is there a genre of photography that you like the least?
Oh man, I know we talked about these topics in advance, so I should have had an answer for that offhand. I know I really like lifestyle. I like lifestyle photos a lot. I like events. I'm learning. I really like events more and more.
So what kind of events? What does that mean? Like,
whether it's a birthday party.
Got it.
It's like a pretty low key ask. Like the destination birthday party one that I did. It was like you have enough conversation with people in advance, you can understand like they're having a million asks. Like I think that's with anything. If there's a lot of rules and requirements, and it's just like the client is ultimately what can make or break the shoot. But they just want you to show up, capture candid moments. I love capturing just candid interactions.
Yeah, that's
like the meetups that we've hosted.
Yeah,
like I shoot that. I don't charge people for the photos after because I just enjoy capturing those moments. I like capturing people interacting.
Ditto.
And obviously we have a lot of fashionable people in our network too. That it's just like.
Oh, I have so many questions about that.
Oh yeah.
But no, I think my least favorite photography genre is weddings.
Yes. That's weddings.
I like events in the sense that like if a bar is having a circus theme night, I can go be a fly on the wall, take photographs, pull my gimbal out every 30 minutes, walk around, try to get some people having fun and dancing. Love that. That's really easy. It's like medium effort. I get to kind of be a fly on the wall and like kind of vibe out and stuff, and I like that a lot. But weddings, absolutely not. I'm like, because of what you said, because people are,
Yeah.
like people don't travel well. It's an event that a lot of things can go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, and then people get really demanding and they don't understand why it can't happen. I've done a wedding or two where like the bride is like, well, can you get a close up of the ring? And I'm like, that's not what you asked for. I bring that lens, and I can't be.
You can't
like,
walk up.
I can't
right.
walk up to you while like everybody's looking at you just to try to get a shot. Like it just looks bad. Like, and whoever's taking photographs of you in that moment is gonna have me like in the way. Like I can't do that.
That was
like,
me at a wedding recently.
yeah, you should have told me so that I can bring my 70 to 200, so that I can,
Yeah.
You should have given me an itinerary of everything in advance so that I can have, actually like the best way to shoot a wedding. And I'm sure that if you're a wedding photographer, you're gonna be like preach. And I don't even do that. you need a team of at least 5 people.
Yeah.
One of them has the 70 to 200. One of them is just taking photographs. One of them's taking video. Probably 2 of them are on a gimbal, and then another one has like an 85, and then the person with the 85 is doing like everybody's shot before they're walking. They're like the step and repeat or whatever, and then one of the guys when they're not working is doing like the drone work or like whatever it is. But like you need a full group, and you need to. You need to demand that whoever's in charge of the wedding gives you the itinerary in advance so that they know when they're gonna do the vows, when they should mic you up for the vows, when they should get the close up of the ring, if there's gonna be a surprise dance, if there's gonna you need to know all that stuff in advance so that the photographers can plan it ahead, or else there's just like people scrambling trying to like switch lenses and be like, we missed the moment. And I can't ask the bride to do that again. That's crazy.
That's the hardest
That's
part.
crazy.
It's like missing the moment. You can't redo any of that. And you just have to have premonition. It feels like some moments. If it's just you, I did one wedding recently. It was just me. They told me it was only going to be like half-hour ceremony, and then they wanted quick photos after. It was like his budget,
Yeah, of course.
The ceremony was over an hour and a half. They didn't tell me it was Catholic mass, and they wanted video. They wanted photo. I had the camera rolling in the back, but like people kept coming up and stuff, and people are standing up, walking up to the front and back, and then it was a time. I'll say it was a time.
Learning experiences.
Yeah,
right?
learning experience for sure.
What got you into fashion?
I would say, I think, I was very introverted years ago, and I felt like fashion was a way to kind of express myself without having to talk to people. Which I felt like was a really hard thing to do.
That's a good way to put it, actually.
I had like really bad social anxiety for a long time.
Okay.
But I noticed that I was drawn to people who dress well, and I noticed other people could be drawn to fashionable people too. So when I started investing in my wardrobe, my appearance, I noticed one, I felt more confident that I could approach people more. And then 2, people would come up to me, and it would be like a great icebreaker. They would say, like when I worked in a corporate space, I wore like colorful ties, pocket squares, and such, and people would be like, oh, I really like your tie. Love that blazer. Like, where'd you get it? So it'd be a great way to just break the ice and kind of form connections. And then over time, it was just a great way to, continue to be a great way to connect with people. It got me into social media. It's still a form of expression. Yeah. And it's just been a very fun. At the very least, it's been a hobby for much of my lifetime.
I have some friends in New York that are really into fashion, and they look at fashion the way that I look at photographs. Like a very big story. Yeah. They understand the history of the brand and what they're wearing, and they can tell you, this is from this line from 04, this is from this, you know what I mean? They look at it like kind of, they almost look at it like how a whiskey connoisseur would be like, oh, like it's from this, or like a wine connoisseur would say like, oh, this is from this year. Like this is an Argentinian wine from like 74, and that's why it's good, but the 75 is shit. Like, they look at it like that. So it's always fascinated me. One of the very first conversations you and I had when we met, I would not say that I'm into fashion in that way, but I like certain things. So it was really interesting. One of the first things that you said to me was like, "Man, I really like your coat. Like you look good."
It just takes like one piece.
And I didn't even notice it. I knew I liked it, and I knew that I wanted to dress well, but I wasn't thinking in my head, I'm trying to be fashion forward.
Yeah.
And when I look at your stuff, I'm like, okay, well, there's a very clear intention here to at least draw the eye into, I'm telling you something about my work in terms of like the way that I color grade it, or the way that I like to edit and this and that. But I'm also telling you something about what I have on that is very important. And I find that to be awesome, because there's some fashion photographers out there that to me are like McDonald's.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like,
they get the job done.
Yeah, it's fine. And then there's some fashion photographers that I'm like, ooh, you are getting really creative.
You're really saying something.
Yeah, this is like really, really some creative stuff, you know? And, and some of those are annoying, because like the McDonald's one, they'll have like the $20,000 Hasselblad body, and they're just like clicking, and I'm just like, oh, that's great, but like I don't like this photograph. You know what I mean? And then there's
doesn't make the image better.
So then I'm like, but then there's some other ones that I like that like are really doing some really creative things.
Yeah.
Would you want in your career, like for your career, would you want to venture off into like the deep fashion stuff? Like, have you ever tried working for a magazine, or for, I guess magazines don't exist anymore, but like a something like that, where you're working with like professional models, high-end models? Is that like something that's in the back of your mind that like you would find very interesting?
I think I had to hone my eye for that particular type of photography, to get the model to be expressive in a way that kind of matches their what they're wearing. I guess it would depend like on the magazine, how fashion forward it was. But yeah, I'd very much be interested in that for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd be good at it.
Thanks, man.
I think that's probably like, I wouldn't be surprised if I like opened my phone one day and there was like a collaborative effort between you and somebody, like some models and stuff that like really wanted to not just be fashion forward, but like creatively driven also. I think you would knock it out of the park.
Even though I don't have the vision, I try to make every client that I work with comfortable. And sometimes, like if you click really well, they'll start trying new things that maybe they wouldn't have tried otherwise, that they just thought of in the moment. So yeah, maybe if I don't have the vision, I can at least.
Yeah, I think you'd be great at it.
Yeah,
I think it'd be awesome, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I think like I'm manifesting that for you.
Thank you.
Just try to get that done. Try to get that going.
Yeah.
I had a question that I just forgot about. It was like in the top of my mind, and I blanked out completely. And it was like adjacent to fashion, but I think I got caught up with like thinking like, oh, he actually would be like super dope at doing that kind of work. I guess. Oh, I remember, because I said Hasselblad cameras.
Yeah.
What's your dream? Axe. What's your dream camera that you think like if I had that camera I'd would like I'd geek out?
I don't know if I have a dream camera right now, but I know like the next lens. I mean, I have cameras that I'm really happy with the camera.
You shoot with a Sony
A7S3 and A7R4, which like I don't need that kind of resolution, but I have it.
It's nice to have.
It takes up way too much space on my cloud storage.
Oh, you're not lying. I'm with the R5, and like I think it's 40
like
megapixels.
Cameras, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 40 megapixels just for the R5. And like the R5, the version 2 came out, and I was like, oh, should I like try to like swap it out or whatever? And like it's the same resolution. It's like more, and I'm like, oh
yeah,
crap.
I'm like, I should have just gotten like the A7 IV, because that I could shoot uncropped 4K, as well as I think maybe it's like a 30 megapixel sensor. The A7R4 is like almost double that. It's like, why do I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time,
I mean, you always want the opportunity. For me, the way that I justify it is that like if a client ever wants to put my stuff on a billboard, they'll be able to blow it up.
I'm ready. It's like
I'm ready, dude.
You want to grow into.
I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready. But it hasn't happened yet. So my stuff hasn't been on a billboard yet. So like maybe you could. I'm sure if you get that model. And I could see it. I could see a Dolce, big, Picture in Times Square somewhere, Paris somewhere, man. I'm telling you, dude,
so
I'm manifesting it for
Appreciate
you.
that.
And I'm sure those shoots are really fun, right? You know,
Yeah.
have these like super aesthetic people just in front of a lens. Would be great.
For sure.
Magic, right?
I do really want like the 70-200. Like I think everyone wants like the 2.8. You know, the Canon or the Sony. I have the 24-70 2.8 G Master for the Sony. I just picked up the 35-150 Tamron.
Okay. Do you like it?
I haven't even opened it yet. It arrived yesterday.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Exciting times.
Excited. 'Cause I also hate switching lenses.
Yeah.
Especially doing events.
Yeah.
I just want to point and shoot.
I mean, everybody says, you know, the trifecta is like a 15-35 and then a 24-70 and then a 70-200.
That's true.
And then you could just, you know, have the gamma. But as a portrait photographer, I'm sure you also really like your primes.
I used to swear by the 85 for the portraits, but
and you gave it up?
I've just been using the 24-70.
Oh, nice.
I'll see a moment, like in the moment, I'm gonna do a full body shot here, and then I want to get an instant, like almost a portrait. And you can just crop a little bit. And
I really like the 50.
Yeah, 50 is good.
I really like the 50, just like
50.
a standard 50, man. Like I really like that. And I think if I was only a photographer, I don't think I would, you know, necessarily spring for the primes unless I was a strictly studio photographer. Meaning like I only shot in the studio. But because I'm outside a lot, as a photographer, I like the ability to like get in and out, right?
Yeah.
For the street photography especially, but as a filmmaker, that 50 is gold.
Oh yeah.
That 50, you know, for you to like light a scene the right way, you know, get it in, you know, C-Log or, you know, ProRes and like be able to get the depth of field that you want, and you know what I mean. I think like 50 is magic, man. On a film level, I'm sure other filmmakers might you know ride or die by other things.
Usually you shoot film, do video.
I think I do more video nowadays than I do photography. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's just because of the podcast and like
Gotcha.
you know everything. So I think I do more video. I like photography more, specifically like street photography. You know, some portraits. You know, a lot of stuff on my website is mostly photography. But I think I'm doing a little bit more, you know, more video now. I worked on a short film right before I moved out here. You know, we were really proud of it. I'm working on some short films now.
That's awesome, man.
Our Instagram online has, you know, highlighted two of my like really short kind of like tableau films and, you know, voiceover storytelling. So I'm like diving deep into that and trying to, you know, create some narratives there. Yeah. So yeah, man, I think I'm doing a little bit more video now. I'm exploring it. But I think first and foremost, it's like I like photography a lot. Yeah. You know, for me, my dream lineup would be like I have a fixed lens Fujifilm X100V. Okay. Love that camera. I mean, I cannot tell you how much I adore that camera. That camera like has a point and shoot, just walk around, pull it out. It's very nondescript, so like I can't take this Canon R5 somewhere without people being like, ugh, you know what I mean? But I can take out I can take out the X100V and people think it's like a toy camera sometimes, and they just don't care. And you can get some great, and it's such a powerful tool. The X106 just came out, and I was like, oh, I get it, right? But it works perfectly fine. On that same note, though, because of the color profiles, the Leicas, like the classic Leicas are like really great. And then of course like the big pipe dream blank check version of me wants a Hasselblad for sure. Like they have like the Hasselblad medium format that like sits at the hip that now is all digital. And it's like 100 megapixels, and it has a fixed lens also, and it just sits at the hip, so it's like super nondescript. It's like the old Hasselblads, and you don't have to pick it up or anything. Like the viewfinder opens, and you just see down, and you can see everything. Oh, it's magical, dude. It's so good. And I think primarily because when I was in school, a lot of the photographs that I really resonated with were medium format film cameras. So like Rolleiflex cameras. Vivitar, like, you know, these chunky cameras that like you have to load like 4x4 film into instead of like the small, you know, 35 millimeter. Yeah. And like the resolution and the quality of those photographs are just phenomenal. I think, there's some photographs that I'm like, I wish I could frame, like, even if it's like duplicate, like I don't want the original, I just want to frame these because they're so great. So I think I have this like weird,
well, you're making me want that to be my dream camera now too.
yeah, man, like I'm going to send you the link to
or at least
like
a Leica, because I do know a few friends who just been talking about them over the last like year or so.
Yeah.
I think I've tuned them out because they've talked about it so much, but yeah, the colors are great.
yeah. Especially if you're into street photography,
Yeah,
I'm sure you.
both are.
I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm sure you can get a lot of like portrait work if you have like the lighting set up and stuff. You get some great stuff. But like, yeah, I think that's my dream stuff. And I think even more super pipe dream of me is if I could actually have a medium format film camera.
Oh yeah.
But then that means that like I would want a dark room and like so I'm just getting
It's a
crazy
slippery
now.
slope.
I'm just
Yeah.
getting crazy. I'm just crazy.
It's
at
a
this point.
gateway hobby for sure.
Yeah. What's up?
I'm trying to stay off the big camera now because the glare from
Oh,
this
okay.
is super big.
Oh, yeah,
Also,
yeah.
the TV is starting to
Oh,
show
no.
the back of your
Yeah.
Of my camera? Oh, okay, I'm sure we
Okay.
could turn this off, right?
I don't know how. Oh, nice.
trying to stay off the.
Yeah, stay off the light.
That is the remote. Okay. Well,
But yeah, man, like it's a slippery slope. This is an expensive hobby. It's like
It
guitars
is.
too. Like I
Yeah.
like guitars, and I'm like, oh, God.
what's next? Like you have a great setup for podcasts, but like with any setup that you have, you're just always thinking about like one way to make it better. So like, what would you do for podcasts? What would you do for photography? Like what's that one, like the next thing that's like in your cart or your wish list?
Oh man. Okay, so for the podcast, I want to automate it even further. So there's ways that on the back end that our control person
Yeah.
would be able to press a button and immediately create like picture in picture with like backgrounds that we like and like
Okay.
to further your brand. There's a way that just with the click of a button you'd be able to get like two cameras in one, or like bring in a computer, like a computer screen, so that it could be side by side, all in real time, all outputting to the monitor so that it's recording in real time. There's also some upgrades that you can have where it'll record not just the monitor, but then it'll record every camera individually, so that if you wanted to go back and post and like catch a interaction or like a facial
Okay.
expression, that you can go back and go do that.
Yeah.
So it just gives you a little bit, more malleability. I don't think that I would ever use it. I've been over the past 2 years that we've been doing this. I've never had to go into post and really do anything like that. But like, it's nice to know that it's there.
Hope I look okay.
Oh, you
I'll
look great,
have to
man. You look fantastic.
transform all this.
Yeah. No. You look fantastic.
Instagram, it's all filter.
Yeah, so it's just it's more so like to for the podcast. It's more so to optimize so that I don't have to work as much outside of in post.
That makes sense.
In terms of my own photography, whenever I have my camera out and whenever I have whenever I'm thinking about a project that's not like this,
Yeah.
I think I can never do without more lenses, just the option of more lenses. And then honestly, now I think at this point that I'm thinking more about film, I have less on my cart when it comes to like actual cameras. Although, I mean, yeah, if I can get like a bigger like actual camera with like a big sensor that's like Netflix approved or something that I can like film,
Yeah.
but like it's very now you're very limited. Now you have to actually like have somebody there that does audio, have somebody there that mics everybody, things like that. So
whole film crew
yeah,
is
so
coming
it
back.
becomes very cumbersome. Although it's nice to know about, but it becomes very cumbersome. I think the thing that I'm now investing in a lot more are just lighting.
Okay.
Yeah, just the ability to have an image that I have in my head and be able to what's the word I'm looking for? Like
Actualize, realize.
yeah,
it.
just yeah. Materialize it really well.
Materialize. Yeah.
Because a lot of times I think in photographs, so I'm already thinking about like the picture. Or sorry, I'm thinking about the colors and things like that. So if I can already, I really believe in this notion of like, I heard this in the music production side of things. Like, my engineer would always say, shit in, shit out. That's kind of what he would say. So
I heard garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
But that was in corporate. I couldn't say that.
Yeah. So it makes sense, right?
Same
like,
meaning, yeah.
you know, but I think the point was like, if I'm recording a guitar into a mic, and it doesn't matter how expensive the mic is, and it doesn't matter how expensive the control room is. Yeah. If my sound is already crap, like there's nothing they can do out on the back end that's gonna make it not sound like crap. You know,
that makes sense.
So I like really took a heart to that, and on the artistic side, and like I try my best that before I even get behind the computer, that it more or less looks the way that I want it to look like.
Yeah.
So, and I'm kind of treating that with light also. Like I'm looking at some of my favorite TV shows and some of my favorite, and I'm just like, how did they light that scene? What did they use? And then I get like really hypercritical on like, they probably had like 4 or 5 lights in there, some soft lighting here, some soft lighting, some bigger lighting, some, you know? So I'll start asking myself a lot of those questions, and I kind of go into a rabbit hole. So I think a lot of that is like, if I had to create this scene in my head, what would I really need? And that's usually how I base my purchases now. Okay. Instead of trying to get like the newest, biggest camera. Like Canon has a new flagship out, and I don't want it. I'm like, it's fine, whatever, you know? It's all right. Yeah. I might get a new gimbal, you know, some of these drones look really cool now, and they have a lot of functionality. There's like the Ronin 4D camera that's like 4-axis, that's like super cinematic and this and that. And I'm just like, I don't know if I really need that right now. I think that like with everything that I have, I'm very capable of getting a lot done, especially in the terms of storytelling. Yeah. And I just more so want to make sure that I can really create a scene the way that I would want to.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Just really making sure it serves your mission versus just like, oh, that'd be really nice to have an extra few megapixels or
sure.
Something like that. For me, I noticed, lighting is one thing I want to work on too. I feel like there's so much to learn with it. Even just having like a single light, and like when I'm shooting my Get Ready With Me videos, makes a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
Just having like one. But yeah, I think another thing I just think about too, like, okay, where am I experiencing headaches in my work? And the zoom lens, the 24-70 was a big step forward, but then it was like, well, now I need to switch lenses when I get something a little tighter. So that's why I got the Tamron. So I'm hoping that solves that problem of wanting a tighter shot from across the room.
Yeah.
Instead of like having to wrestle my way across, or in the case of a wedding, a budget wedding, being the only person there, like I would just like to have one lens that I can
it goes to 135, right?
150.
Oh, 150.
Yeah, I might have spoken before.
Yeah, no. I know. I think you said it right. I think I'm.
Even 135, like that's
still wide. That's pretty tight.
That's almost double.
Yeah.
Like the 70.
Sports photographers live and die by the 70 to 200, and it's no shock why. They can be far away, and they get tight in there. So yeah. I mean that makes complete sense. I think back to like I did my senior thesis in school in my tiny little duplex in Houston before I had pretty much anything. I had like a camera that was essentially the ancestor of this one, and it was like 4 or 5 versions removed from this one, still DSLR. Like when I think about the sensor that this one has versus what I started with, it's like night and day. Like it crazy, right?
Yeah.
And some of my favorite photographs are from that camera. You know, some of my favorite, like I think back and look back at that project, and I'm like, I was very limited hardware wise, but it just made me more creative everywhere else.
Yeah.
So I think if I had this big vision to create this big film for Netflix, then yes, I need to get the hardware that's Netflix approved, and then that becomes its own like hurdle that you have to cross.
Yeah.
But in terms of just like, can I tell the story that I want now?
Yeah.
I think I have more than what I need, in the sense that like hardware, like actual like the camera. Now it's just more about fine tuning. So, and I constantly remind myself, in the same way that like some of your favorite photographs happen with the really cheap camera, some of your best work can still come from the equipment that you have right now. So
for sure.
And so I don't really get like really bothered by the fact that I don't have the next biggest thing. I'm more so concerned with like, do I have my next great story?
Yeah.
Going back to the storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man. Do you have any plans for the rest of the year in terms of work? Or are you just like?
Yeah, I'm trying to do some Christmas specials.
Nice.
I bought some decor to set up in Mueller Park, so I'm hoping to do that the next few weekends. But
So you're shooting like
a little stage setting
Yeah,
for anyone
yeah.
who wants any Christmas themed stuff, family or with a couple, like a partner or anything like that.
Got it.
Aside from that, just a few more handful of like portrait shoots.
Cool.
With other clients looking for branding before they start the new year, and then hopefully next year, new year, new resolutions, new businesses.
Yeah.
People seem to start them beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that I can pivot to some good branding sessions then.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. What about yourself? Anything exciting?
I've got one big job that I have to do. Actually, not even. Not at the end of the year. At the beginning of the year, it's a pretty big job. But it's just one day. It's just gonna be like a lot of work that day.
Okay.
And then I've got 2 clients right now that we're still that I'm still doing work for.
Okay.
Consistently. It requires a lot of like organization, so we're kind of working on that. It's always nice to try to pick up a new client, but it's not my like go-to goal at the current moment. I'm more so just trying to make sure that I execute right for the clients that I have right now.
Yeah.
And then I think on a creative level, I always just want to keep shooting. So like
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
I'm
so-
gonna keep shooting.
yeah, like I was out yesterday and I was so mad because me and a friend of mine went to Equipment Room here on South Congress, which is
Yeah.
we love that place, and then we went to a couple other places here on E6, and I wanted to take photo. I have my Fuji with me, but I had forgotten my memory card, and I was so upset because I was like,
man.
I was editing some photographs, and I just left it on my pouch, and I just never put it back, and like I was like,
Sorry, man.
and I was like, no, I want to keep shooting, right? So I think I just want to keep shooting. There's some personal projects that I have that I want to keep tinkering at and seeing if I can get closer to what I would feel would be showcase worthy.
Yeah.
And then one of our short clips that went viral on Instagram of a film festival in Los Angeles wants to show it. So
That's cool.
So if we manage to figure out a way to kind of get that going, then there's a possibility that I might fly to LA to just watch it get shown over there. But
Yeah.
I mean, that is like ancillary. It wasn't like that was the plan. It just kind of did its thing online, and people started reaching out. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
so
very cool.
not anything specific, but more so just kind of like just stay creatively fulfilled
Yeah.
and keep having these conversations. I think I have more of these conversations for the podcast that I have coming up in the next couple weeks. But when it comes to this, I'm willing to talk to anybody. So
Well,
this
you're
is
really
fun.
good at like having conversations,
I appreciate that, man.
learning about people and getting them to open up and share their story. It's definitely a gift. It's fun. Yeah, it's awesome. I have other thought. It's finally cool. The weather is nice.
Yeah.
I want to shoot fall content finally outside.
Well, it's because fall takes a long time to get to Texas.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, man. And we
Yeah.
and we had originally thought about doing some sort of collaborative shoot together. So
Yeah.
I still think we should do that.
We definitely
I
should.
think that'll be super fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's like record temps again. It's like every weekend there's like a record temp, like the past couple months. But I think the end of this week, I don't want to jinx it, but I think we're gonna get down to like low 60s.
Let's do it.
So yeah,
Let's do it on Sunday. It's the weekend after Thanksgiving, so I
Yeah.
think we might catch a break in the sense that like there's not going to be a lot of people out.
I agree. I think if they're out, they're gonna be shopping, so they're not gonna be down here. It's not shopping territory.
Yeah, we could totally take advantage of it. Let's do it, dude.
Awesome.
Let's
Fun.
let's end with that. On that note,
Yeah.
this is your camera here. You got to pitch. You got to pitch people, man. I know you hate
pitch?
it, but,
All
but tell people where to find you.
Yeah.
Tell people, you have some promotions going on for Christmas, so let them know. I'll clip it and I'll send it to you.
I am doing a Black Friday sale right now for any downtown lifestyle portrait shoots. So look me up at @_Envision Photography on Instagram or envision-photography.com on the web. Contact me there. I do portraits, I do events, I do branding sessions, social media, any storytelling. That's something I love to do. So if you're looking for, again, anything for social media or even just like for your own personal use, for your business, that's something I would love to be a part of. I like working with people and amplifying their vision, and I try to make things as collaborative as possible too, and not tell people what to do unless they need some insight. So I guess that's me. And my Christmas specials are this coming Saturday, Sunday, and the following Saturday and Sunday. I can't remember the dates off the top of my head.
It's fine.
But yeah, I'm looking to do some portraits. If anyone is looking for those family portraits, just to send to the grandparents, the in-laws, or even just to print out and stick on their fridge, that's something I'm doing. Just find me on Instagram, and I have all the information in my bio and in the highlights and on my feed. That was a really long pitch, so.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great. Go find Steve. Go get some work done with him. He's gonna take care of you. He's gonna do. He's gonna make you look fantastic and sharp. On that note,
thank you so much.
That's gonna conclude this episode. We hope that you like it. Again, it's a little bit of a change of pace. If you were here because we were arguing about politics the last episode and you wanted to come back for more,
I'd be happy to talk about politics. We're out of time.
I think we're out of time for that one. But if that's why you were here. Then this isn't the episode for you. We also do some wholesome stuff, and we're not gonna. Today was not for arguing with Trump supporters. Okay.
Everything in balance, right?
Yeah, we gotta have balance in your life, man. Like the name of the podcast is called Degenerates, right? So we gave you the degenerate stuff when the election was going on. The emotions were high. I understand. Okay. Today we're being very generous. We gotta show love to everybody that's out here, and regardless of what you guys say online and how you guys get feisty, we do some wholesome stuff, right? We're our goal ultimately is to promote community and to promote the people that are out here, working really hard and have a vision for their life and talk about their stories. That's what we're really trying to do. So on that note, we hope that you like Steve. Go get some work done by him. Follow us on every social media platform, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the whole nine. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about us. Don't tell your friends you hate us so that they can go see us and change their mind. Whatever it is that you have to do, thank you guys so much in advance. We appreciate it. On that note, see you guys next time.